Welcome to Forever Exile, the Path of Exile podcast. I am Justin, a.k.a. Tags.
Tyler, Wrecker of Days.
Episode 120 of Forever Exiled.
It's a fancy number.
It is. It's a cool number.
Yeah,
it's divisible by 10. I like those numbers the best. They're the easiest.
The tens? Yeah. Because you math good?
I math really good. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Super good.
You were good at math back in the day, weren't you?
I love math. Yeah, I love math. Yeah, I'm just kidding. But I do like tens. They're easy. So 120.
I like feel that. So old when I'm like trying to encourage my kid. One of my kids loves math. The other one doesn't.
Yep.
And I'm like, see, look, there's math everywhere. I hate parent comments. Like, you know, like I know I'm almost 40, but it's kind of like, you know, you go, look, there's math there. Look, there's math here. Like, you know, you try and like show how important it is. So it's not as discouraging, but it's such like, I say dad comments, but they're such parent comments. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you're old when.
It's funny you say, you know, cracking a joke about being old because Tyler and I actually hung out a little bit this morning in person. And when I dropped you off, my first inclination was just to like hit the gas and like squeal the wheels and drive off just to because I knew it would be funny. And as soon as that thought came into my head, I was like, oh shit, these are expensive tires. I'm not wasting.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
So much different.
Go back all the way to when we were riding our bicycles. It would be like your parents would say, don't skid your tires or you're buying your next set.
Are you kidding? Look at this.
Yeah, did you see that, Dad? I'm so awesome.
So cool. Anyway, that's pretty fun. Big shout out to Patrons. You guys are awesome. Todd, thanks for joining the Patreon this week and some more resubs. You guys are super awesome. If you're curious what Patreon is, it gets you access to our podcast after the podcast, which we call After Dark. And it's just more of us chatting and talking. And it's a fun way to support the podcast. Plus, you get a sticker. So also, Patrons, if you haven't done it yet, make sure you update your Discord name in your Patreon account. It automatically syncs up to our Discord server. So nothing has to be done manual. And if you want the goodies, make sure you got your address in there. Yeah. We love you. Thanks for supporting us.
We do. Thank you so very much. I had a really funny thing. It was like perfect. Something you were saying. I was like, oh, wow, that's going to be, I should say that. And then now it's gone.
It's gone? Boy,
yeah. So now there's this awkward segue to congratulating GGG on their open beta anniversary, Justin. It's 2022. Is that weird for you that it's today like it's 2022?
No. Versus 2021?
I like round numbers, not in the mathematical term, but numbers themselves where when you write it out, they're round. So I like, twos and zeros. That's nice. Way better than 2021. And according to the person that we really like online, COVID's coming to an end this year, man. Normalcy for some countries.
At least endemic. At least we're getting closer to the endemic stage, which would be awesome.
That's right. But January 24, 2013. 2013, 9 years ago, right? That's my, yeah. Okay, good. Yeah, 2022. No, what? All of a sudden I was like, no, wait.
Good.
I thought, yeah. Oh, man. So anyway, math is everywhere, Justin. You need it.
Yeah, it's true.
9 years, open beta.
Wow.
So weird.
Cool. That is pretty sweet.
And while we're on date math, our friend Ryan that listens to the show and absolutely hates Path of Exile at the same time. Thanks, Ryan. You're awesome. He did some date math for us. Remember how you and I were joking around last episode that we were going to stick around until we hit a 4-digit rep digit, which is of course 1,111.
Yeah.
So that's at one a week without skipping any. That's 19.1 years.
That's
more.
Doable. That's doable.
He said it's February 15, 2041.
Okay, now that sounds weird. I guess we will be alive in 2040.
We'll be in our flying cars. One of us will be on our way to
we'll
Disneyland.
Be middle age right about then.
That's right. So those flying cars have to be convertibles.
Yeah, and red.
Oh, man.
It's got to be red and convertible.
What do you think the new Miata is going to be? Remember, I don't know, 10 years ago, it was like the middle-age crisis thing. The affordable convertible was the puny little Miata.
Yep. You see a lot of like dudes in their 60s still rocking them. It's awesome.
You know what, though? There's somebody close by. Awesome guy. Super. He's one of those guys where he's like, every time he sees me walking down the street, because he helps out with his grandkids. And so we see each other, doing the normal walk back and forth to school. He's the kind of person that always uses your name. Hey, Tyler, how's it going? And I love it. So he's like the only person in the world whose name I haven't forgotten, because I would feel horrible if I didn't repeat his name back to him. They have 2 Triumphs. like old classic legit. One for him, one for his wife, exact same color, exact same year. And sometimes you see them driving together, sometimes like in separate vehicles, but together. And anyway, yeah, that's like the ultimate retirement vehicle. But I'll be getting a Miata when I hit the
I don't know what
55
replaces
or whatever
the Miata.
it is.
I have some friends that got the electric new Mustang, and
Cool.
No, disappointing. So disappointing. I'm all for electric cars. I love the idea of it, but when they told me it was a Mustang, I was like, no, it's not. When you Google it later, the new electric Mustang, it doesn't look like a Mustang. It's nice. It's very nice, but it almost looks like a mini SUV, but it's their new Mustang design. Anyway, yeah. I don't remember how we got onto that topic, but here we are.
We will be driving the new Miatas.
The Miatas of the 2040s.
How is it that I remembered a segue and you didn't? Anyway,
I wasn't looking at our notes. I should have, because we have all our segues written down. That's how we do this, right?
Yeah,
you can tell. You can tell.
Our notes are actually 40 pages long because we have every segue written.
Segue now. How was your week?
Oh, it was good. Thanks for driving me around today. To the dollar store, got to top up on some sweet. My kids are at that sweet age where it's my son's birthday today of recording, not the day.
Yeah,
of the
happy
podcast,
birthday, Oliver.
Yeah, thanks. And I mean, he says thanks, and it's. I like to. We're not a big celebratory family, and we take COVID seriously. So we've been like, poor Oliver. This will, I think, only have been his second birthday. But my daughter, she had her COVID kind of started kicking the crap out of us 1 week before her birthday a few years ago. So she'll have missed her third now. Not third, but just being able to have a birthday party with other people. So anyway, my family, where I come from when I was younger, we did our best to celebrate, but my parents always felt like they weren't good celebrators. They were fantastic, and every celebration they did was wonderful and special, and probably where I got my desire to cry about everything happy. But so anyway, I try and make the house look stupid decorated when the kids wake up and their rooms all decorated, the hallway, and so I needed to top up, and Justin was very kind to drive me to the dollar store to get some helium balloons and stuff.
I'm impressed that you do, because you strike me as the person who would cancel Christmas if given the option. If you could just not, I feel like you don't like Christmas, you don't like birthdays, you don't want to celebrate, you just want to be in your corner, arms crossed, yelling. Do you know what I mean? That's kind of
yelling takes a lot of effort. But I you know what, if I had my own Christmas, I probably wouldn't do a Christmas tree, which is traditional for us. I know it's not for everyone, but I would like to decorate the house, do snow and stuff like that, and have things hanging from the ceiling. I think it'd be cool to make the inside of the house look like something, but I do think Christmas trees are stupid.
That's offensive. But you probably haven't seen it, but my dad does these, it's called Apartment 56. There are these little houses that are Christmassy or whatever. They're ridiculous. It became his thing a number of years back. And each year he would actually get invited to this special party where they would sell these. And so he would buy one a year because they're quite expensive.
Yes.
Now he has a town. He actually builds a table in his place, 2 tables that are joined. He's got snow that he built into them, and he wires it all up, and it's all lit up. And
that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome. No, I like that kind of stuff. That's not the stuff I would do, but my dad was into HO scale model railroad trains.
Yeah.
And so the amount of detail and effort and money you would put in, he only liked engines made from, I think it was CN engines from 48 to 58. And then there would be CP ones from 37. I forget what the date range was. And of course, I don't have to remember now because he's gone. But every time I see a train, I'm like, ah! But no, I totally get that. And even in a Soyuz, they had that. It just closed down. It was open for a couple decades, but it just closed down. There was this massive thing where you could see interactive, but HO scaled trains, and it just filled up an entire massive room. It was really cool. So I appreciate the people like your dad that do that, even though it's not train stuff. But yeah, so my week was. Thanks for driving me around. Speaking of my son, he's coming back with a lot of pictures that say "To Dad" from Oliver, which is super sweet. I'm the least favorite parent, but all of a sudden I'm getting doted on, and it's because he's drawing Dark Souls bosses at school during his craft time.
And awesome.
But he's labeling them. He has the boss health bar and my health bar, and I think he's seen a lot of me playing because the boss is almost dead, but I'm always dead. And so but he's drawing me stabbed and suspended in the air. You know how some bosses do that for some big explosion thing that they do.
We need to have a talk.
So anyway, he knows he's not allowed to draw blood at school. That's a rule they already have. But I had to emphasize to him the other day that you can't write in big red letters, "You died." Like he's in grade 1 and there's like this big dragon with the sword holding me up, but I'm impaled on this sword.
You need to just tell him like you and him have a deal that whenever he colors in pink, that's blood, or like pick a weird color so that the teachers don't know, but he can show you, be like, oh, blood, dad.
Yeah, okay, that's a great idea. So anyway, I told him like a little house rule, you can't draw "you died." I don't think your teachers would like that if they saw these pictures. And he's like, no, you know what? I don't think they would. But then he kind of thinks about it for a second. He looks at me. He's like, can I just save space for it and then write "you died" when I get home? And I'm like, yeah, yes. That's an awesome idea. He has a Dark Souls 3 boss book.
That's awesome.
And he's put it in order of appearance, according to him. Like he knows Patreon that there's
last
dead
week,
ends.
He answered me as to like who his favorite boss was, who you die the most to. That was part of our conversation. I don't know if you heard it yet.
He's good with it. No, I did. Thank you. That was great. I appreciate the encouragement. And I had a tear-jerking moment this week. I'm going around. Good. My son loves his bike, and it was real life. It was awkward. So I'm going to a place that can fix my son's tires on his bike. Because, you know, the weather now where bikes coming back, so he's got the itch, he's ready to go. And there's a hot dog guy that we all know outside with his shop. And I'm like, you know what? I got to go grocery shopping right after this. And I need the energy. I really didn't plan for it, but I really have to get going because we have the asbestos people coming this week. And, you know, like I have to do it today or it's going to really screw us up. So I'm like, I need some energy. I got to do this. And for those that don't know me, I have to be very picky with my diet. And when I, you know, do energetic
Meanwhile,
things.
dollar store Slim Jims.
So, hey, no, I can plan that business out. So anyway, I go to the hot dog guy and he's like fancy, expensive, $12 foot long hot dogs. And I go and I'm like, I don't mean to be one of those people, but can you just give it to me in the wrapper? Like I can't have your wheat or anything like that. And he looks at me, kind of glares at me for a sec. He's like, serious? And I'm like, yeah, sorry. Like I'll pay for whatever, but can you give it to me without that? So he just like hands me the wiener. And I'm like, what was that sauce you were holding on before you found out I couldn't have anything? He's like, oh, it's this kind of sauce. And I'm like, oh, yes, please. So he like all over the hot dog, even though it's just wet. And then I'm like, okay. And he just like stares at me. And I'm like, I'm reaching for my wall. I'm like, can I pay? He's like, go. Like in a really rude, but go. And I'm like, no, like I'm happy to pay. I'm just like, get out, go. And I'm like, thank you very much. Like I'm sorry, I wasn't expecting, but he's like, go. Like he didn't want the thanks or anything, but he wanted to be kind. And so it was really nice. I got a $12 foot long, delicious all beef hot dog for free. And I had a good grocery shopping experience.
Fantastic.
Because of it. So thank you, hot dog individual. How was your week, Just?
My week? Really good. It's been a good week. Busy, but I did some work in my own office at home this week because I finally wanted to, I think I mentioned to you that I've been trying to get my new computer that I built. I wanted it mounted under my desk and I have a sit stand desk. So it required a little bit of planning, but I finally did it this week. And my nice big new computer is now properly mounted to the bottom of my desk and goes up and down with it. And I have, there's so much space for activities now in this corner here. It's amazing.
That's awesome.
And it's quieter too, right? Because the fans are now down below. But it's off the floor, which is what I wanted. Oh, I was so happy with it. And then I rearranged my desk. Mike's on a different side now. And
everything's wireless, including your head.
Getting there. Yeah, I am back to sitting on this amazing dining room chair because I tried going back to my gaming chair that I bought. And I was like, no, I can't do it. My back just does not like it. What were you saying about my gaming, my head?
Oh, everything's wireless except for your head. But I guess, next step's your headset, right? Wireless headset?
They don't make really good studio headsets that are wireless. And so that I have these ones specifically for when I'm mixing and editing audio. Yeah. So, what else? That was school stuff. It's really annoying because basketball's kicked in now in school.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which is great. I'm really happy for my kids because like the oldest one that's in school, he's 12. He loves basketball, so he can finally play. He actually came home yesterday from school. He had a practice yesterday, and they finally got their jerseys. And I'm like, "How's your day?" He's like, "It was awesome." And I'm like, oh, okay, why? And he's like, and he just stands in front of me and he starts to take his jacket off and he's wearing his jersey that they got and he got number 23. So he was so happy. And but now they start playing games.
Yeah.
Like they're actually letting school kids play between schools, which is awesome. And but we found out yesterday that he has a game today at a school across the city, and they get out of school at like 2:20 something, and the game they have to be there 10 minutes before, and the game starts at 3. And I'm like, yeah, that's not. What's that? No. We got an email last night at like 8:30 just saying, hey, just so you know, we have a game tomorrow at blah blah blah. This school, kids need to sort out their rides. Please be there 10 minutes ahead of time.
Is that because of COVID that they don't do the bus, or what? Like, no, we got bussed everywhere.
No, we had to sort out our own rides for games as well. Yeah,
no,
when we would play. Yes, I never got bussed in basketball ever, unless we were playing in like way far away cities where we would go away for a weekend. But individual games, we had to do it ourselves.
No way. Well, you should have played rugby then. Our school cared about rugby.
Yeah, I guess that must have been it. I have to drive him. He has to walk home because I got my daughter getting off school too, and then we have to drive as quickly as we can, literally from where we are in our city. The furthest school away from us is where I have to go to get him to this other school.
Oh man,
for 3:00, and then they're there for an hour, and then you have to be picked up because you can't watch. Right, parents can't go in to spectate.
That's funny.
So it's just that stuff's annoying, but I'm really happy that he's doing it. So I'm like, okay, cool, we'll do it. But yeah, no, my week was good. It's good. Work's been insane. We've got some really fun stuff coming up through January and February, so I'm excited for that. But yeah, it's been good. Well, how was your PoE week? Did you play this week?
Well, here, let me first shout out. Theta made us a bingo league card on Discord. Did you see it? Okay,
I heard it's going to be an ongoing process of making it bigger, which is hilarious.
Well, it is hilarious because on there, we don't start talking, like on the bingo card we don't start talking about PoE until around the 15-minute mark. For us, it's around 18 and a half.
Edited down?
But
that's
yeah,
all right.
It might. So anyway, that was pretty funny. There's a lot of them on there, of course, like console stocks, Tyler screwing up the intro,
totally does,
kind of thing. Yeah, there were a lot of good ones. It nailed us down really well. But anyway,
I saw people giving more suggestions, which made me laugh too.
Yeah, there were some good ones there too. There are some good ones.
Did you play PoE?
Was great. Yeah, I'm all any PoE diehards theory crafting all the time, whether they're playing or not. And I'm always am in my head while I'm doing my chores, even while we're in the car and we're not saying anything. I'm like, I wonder if this would work with this. But then it's not that serious because like we're seeing all these teasers of potential big changes, and like if bosses change, influences change, or is there going to be another core change? And I've kind of rambled on about that in the past couple episodes. So I'm thinking about stuff, but I'm not making any serious commitments to anything. I'm just daydreaming about it. I'm not putting even anything on like PoE planner or like any builds or anything like that. So, but it's been fun. I've been doing a lot of that kind of brainstorming, hoping that these ideas that I have don't change with the upcoming changes that they're going to make. But my wife's been making fun of me because I still write things down on paper. For some reason, I find it way easier to make changes to my ideas or change things around on paper. I find it a lot more efficient than doing it on a spreadsheet or Google Keep.
Just to interrupt you, this literally travels with me everywhere I go.
He's holding up a very small pen and paper booklet.
It's by a company called Dingbats.
Okay.
And it has an elephant on the front. And
I see the connection.
Literally, this goes everywhere. I write almost everything down. If I'm trying to think of something or whatever, I love writing stuff down still.
Yeah. So that's what I do with my theory crafting as well. And my wife calls me
I don't have anything PoE related in it though. So
see, that's where we differ. My wife calls me the guy like Russell Crowe from A Beautiful Mind.
Yep.
That's what she calls me. I forget the person's name, but like I have PoE brainstorming stuff all over the place. Like I have a note of like color filter themes as a bookmark in my cookbooks. My kids' notebooks that they use, I have little notes just on the side because I needed some paper. So it's a little note about a build. I've found notes, of course, by the computer, but on the deck table, outside, dining room table, coffee table, like in my pants as I'm emptying my pockets. And I'm like, oh, I thought I washed these. Okay, no, it's time. Oh, well, more. Oh, that's where that is.
I wonder if your wife ever wonders, like, imagine if he put this energy to something else. The things he could do.
No, I don't think there's anything else, Justin. I think
No,
this
that's
is
it.
No,
Just
this
PoE.
is it. Yeah, but actually, my PC or my I spoiled it. Aw, my Path of Exile time was on PC this week.
Yeah, I saw you playing it.
Yeah. So I've decided, changed my mind all the time, so we'll see how long this lasts. But for my guide examples, I started last league or the league before doing like bare bones examples for my guides, meaning, no fancy gear, just like this is what you can do as a minimalist, and feel free to take it as long as you can. And I'm taking your advice along with others of doing like more min-max stuff within the guide itself for some aspiration for them. Inspiration. Aspiration. Anyway.
Well, aspirations, right?
Oh, is it? I thought that was like when you...
Aspiration, something to reach for.
Oh, I guess I've been watching a lot of COVID stuff, so I thought like you aspirate the needle before you...
Oh, no, I think you're thinking different.
Okay,
aspiration is correct. You're right.
Okay. Well, now it sounds all wrong. Anyway, so doing bare bones, but I want to do it on PC so that the second the league is launched, I can do an example video. I don't have to wait 5 days like I do on console. And then it still lets me on console, where I typically play once you've burned out, lets me play those characters the way I want. I don't have to worry about the guide's influence on them. And then, but I'm leveling, my bone zombies are righteous fire, but only with 5 links. If I have like a nice elder helmet for them, I get, I stash it and I put on something basic. And so, because I don't have that in my title when I'm broadcasting, I'm getting like, oh, you should do this. How do you not have a 6 link yet? And blah, blah, blah. So it's kind of fun, but that's what I was doing. And it was a fun PoE week for me this week. I assume you didn't play? No?
No, I didn't. My PoE week was mostly consumed with just reading some of the teasers, which we're going to talk about in this coming week in PoE.
Can't wait.
And for me, it's the same at every single league. I know we've had comments or, people asking about the fact that sometimes especially me, talk about not playing. I am really careful as we get towards the end of a league to not play Path of Exile. It's purposefully done. Even if I get a bit of an itch and go, oh, I kind of maybe want to play. I really don't want to go into a new league feeling even a tiny bit of PoE burnout. So for me, it's better to just read the stuff, find out what's happening, get excited about some of the upcoming stuff, and not actually play the game, because I hate the beginning process of a league. I do like it because you start from scratch. It's my favorite part about leagues and all the new stuff that comes with it, but I don't like the leveling process. So I don't want to get myself into a position of not feeling, 115% as soon as the league comes out.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't play, but I did a lot of just reading and checking out what was happening in PoE. And also a big shout out to people. I'm going to do this now for sending us reviews. I mentioned in one of an episode a couple ago that Spotify now allows for reviewing, as does Apple, obviously. And I think our website does too. And a lot of people did that. So big shout out to you guys for giving us positive reviews. That's awesome. We love your faces. And if you're curious, you can hit that little 5-star review thing on Spotify now.
That's the only star that works. If you want to give us 4 or lower, it's for some reason broken. Don't try. Just trust us. Just
we promise the 5 works. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, we do. It's great. Say what you want underneath, but the 5 works. Yeah.
And we haven't actually talked about this in a long time either, but I am going to also just throw a thank you out to everybody for listening. We have insane numbers for a podcast, which is very cool. We are currently rated in the top 10% in the world, which is it's awesome. So a big shout out to you guys for listening and hanging out, and the people in Discord. You seriously make the week a whole lot of fun. So most of my PoE week was in Discord and just reading stuff that was coming up through their tweets and Twitters. All right, let's talk about this week in PoE. There was some good stuff.
Yeah. I mean, last chance to get expedition support packs. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you cared. I wish I had the money to do like, the $60, I guess American, but $60 American every 3 months to get a support pack, because I actually quite like a lot of them. It's been very rare where I haven't liked one of them. And even if I didn't like one of the league ones, you could always throw that $60 onto like the next tier up of the core support pack. You know what I mean? The annual ones. So I actually really liked this Egyptian demigod one. I know it's not, it was called demigod, sorry, but it looked Egyptian. It had the cat, with the cool necklace and like the wolf head for the character, and I like that one. So
both of their support packs this year, this past league, were really good. I liked both of them.
Yeah. I don't really see the relation. I guess they don't have to have a relation, but I wasn't really into the lore, and I didn't put a lot into the league mechanic. So I don't know if they were related, but I don't think they need to be. I think they looked really cool. But every time they say like they're gone, I know that's like minor news and nobody cares really. But every time it's okay, oh, they're leaving. I'm like, oh, there's another league gone by where
do they ever come back? I don't even know.
No, they don't. I think they do. They don't technically say exclusive like they do with other things, but I do like that GGG is very sticky about the term exclusive. Like once it's gone, it's gone. And I know people have begged for it to come back, and GGG's like, no, like we made extra money because it was exclusive. We're not going to just screw them over. Like I remember when Hitman did that for Hitman, when Square Enix revamped Hitman, and it's the current series. With Hitman 1, they had like these live contracts that you would have to do within that week. And if you didn't do them, well, too bad, so sad, you missed out. Then they came out with like their Game of the Year edition, which is typical for a lot of games. They re-added the exclusive one-time only contracts again, and it pissed so many people off, and they got into, I don't know what happened to it, but I was reading that they were getting into a lawsuit because people said they spent the extra money on purpose for the time, whereas they could have just waited to get the same thing. So it was false marketing. So
yeah, I agree with you.
That's rambling, but I like what GGG does.
Speaking of rambling and not related to PoE at all, did you see Microsoft's purchase this week?
Did it actually go through? I heard it was like going through the process. 61 billion?
63 point something billion. What? Here's my question. Sorry, we're going to get back into this week in PoE, but I read that. So they bought Activision, Blizzard. We're very, very slowly becoming a world of like 4 companies, which is whatever. I don't actually care. There's no conspiracy to that. But, okay, so having $63 billion is crazy. Making a purchase of something for $63 billion, that's insane to me.
It's a lot of money. I remember not grasping how business worked a long time ago when Microsoft bought Minecraft. Mm-hmm. And I remember the basics of not understanding, like Minecraft sells for $20. Why would you spend so much? Like it'll take you years. Obviously being naive, completely forgetting the value of merchandise. Merchandise will always sell more than that. And then of course, not really, that was before the days where game add-ons or free games made more money with in-game purchases. And so obviously PoE can teach you that if you're not into the other games. But yeah, so all of a sudden now you have Diablo 4. Maybe the Diablo Netflix series that was happening. You have WoW, but then you have like Phil Spencer in charge of Xbox, who's a game nerd. Like he does actually like games. He's not just some corporate guy looking at numbers. So he wants StarCraft to come back. The Activision people are freaking out because they're like, oh, maybe we can get support to bring Skylanders back. Or, oh, what was the other one that they, anyway, like there's, you go on Activision's website now, they provide you with 6 games that they make, right? Diablo, WoW, Hearthstone, Candy Crush, right? But I mean, there's such a huge amount of games that they just permanently own the copyright to. So
yeah, now you have all this money and this massive company behind you. Oh, it'll be interesting. I think it's good. I think it'll be fun. I was just laughing to myself going, if I had $63 billion, I would not buy a company. I know exactly what I would do. I would buy like a couple homes and like an island, and I would just put the rest of the money away and I'd be like, peace.
Yeah, then you'd invest it in Microsoft.
I wouldn't be looking to like expand my empire. I'd be like, all right, I'm out.
Yeah, a small island's good enough.
Just a small island, yeah.
But
I don't need a big one.
Crazy when it's like but you keep seeing more potential. Like it's crazy for people like us because obviously there is always potential. It's like playing PoE. There's maps. What do you mean there's maps? What do you mean there's 3? You just keep going and going and going in the game and there's always something. But yeah, it's pretty neat. But I think like Microsoft now has WoW or will have WoW and ESO for like online subscription stuff. I guess ESO is technically free, but they're borderline.
Just as long as they don't push more towards the Windows Store, I don't care what they do. Keep things on Steam. Let me still use Steam. I don't like the Microsoft Store. I don't want to use it.
No,
but it's crazy. I just thought that was nuts. Anyway, back to this week.
It is a very PC purchase though, but that'll be huge on console. Massive on console because of that Game Pass subscription thing. Oh my goodness, they're going to make their money back so fast.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens with them. I don't mind stuff like this. I like stuff like this because typically it means that those games can only get better. You're going to see a massive influx of money, which means they can do more than they were able to do before.
Yep.
I think that's fun.
Agreed. And then concept art for the nullifier. I like it just because I like
that they're doing each one.
Yeah,
we did
it's cool.
the first one last week.
Yeah, so now it's this one. So maybe they're coming out in order. What was last week?
The very first one. Shoot, I can't remember what it's called. Right. It's the one we like the armor set of though. But it's not the Impaler, is it? No, I can't remember. Sorry.
Now they came out with the league name this week.
Okay. And it was it was a trailer. If you haven't seen the trailer, so the league name has come out. It's going to be called. Can we say?
We skipped ahead. What? My apologies.
Did we?
Yeah, go ahead. That's fine. I just wanted to throw in an insignificant little detail that referenced Dark Souls 2.
Okay, well, so they came out with the league name, and are we saying it? I don't know. Like, what's
totally. This comes out on Sunday, man, and it's like this came out yesterday, Thursday. If you're 3-4 days behind, too bad, so sad.
We're not. Archnemesis is the name of the league.
Oh, why'd you spoil it?
But who cares? Because if you haven't watched the trailer for this name, it's not even a trailer. The name reveal. Okay, they did the expansion reveal, whatever, last week, and I was like, okay, like it was fine. I didn't. Jesus, the music in this one, I don't even have words. It is so good. It might be one, and it's only like 25 seconds long. Probably one of my favorite music bits from Camille in a really long time.
Watch, he probably actually has a team of 10 under him, and when we interviewed him, he's like, "No, it's just me. It's just me. It's just me." But I love
so good.
He's amazing, and I love that Camille gets a lot of praise from the community, that he's recognized. Like I wonder how many other gaming communities out there, like for WoW, they get their next expansion trailer. I don't know how their game works or how often that happens, and everybody's like, "Oh wow, Katrina, your music's amazing!" Like
WoW does have a pretty good community for their audio as well.
Oh, for their
you are
okay,
right.
Good.
Yeah, but I can't even get over it when he does some of these. This one, you have to watch that trailer, the Challenge League name reveal. I think he tweeted it, and it's on their YouTube for sure. But
it's under their league spoiler stuff, or like their league teaser stuff under announcements. But we gotta start giving some credit to the rest of the teaser team, though. Like all the cuts they do, like the images they choose to show. Like obviously the music is intense, because if you mute the trailer, and it's no offense to the rest of the team, it's just that's the value of music, even when you're watching movies. But like the things they choose to show, and how much of it, and how I
love how little you saw.
Oh, they're so
like you just
smart.
see this weird statue-ish thing that's changing shape, but the music for it is just it makes it just epic. It's so good.
It looked like something I saw in a PoE 2 trailer, like when they were doing some of the gameplay, or one of the trailers they had for PoE 2. It looked like one of the statues. Like there's some pretty big iconic things they showed in the PoE 2 world. And maybe for lore purposes, they're like, I don't know, I don't remember. And probably if I go back to be like, oh, that looked like that, and then I'm like, oh wow, no, that's a mouse and that's an elephant. No, they're totally different. But maybe it's time that they start adding, and maybe this is part of it, they start adding some of the stuff, like visual things that are going to be in the story, but then of course they're going to be in PoE 2, which is 30 or 40 years later, if I remember correctly.
By the time we get to 1111 in our episodes,
4 decades, you're going to have some items within the game that are still going to exist, whether it's a statue or a building or a city name. So this reminded me of one of those like weird, like many armed altar things that people would praise or sacrifice to from the trailers. So
when I hear the name Archnemesis, though, it made me laugh because it means nothing to me. I don't look at that and go like, okay, I got a pretty good idea what's coming. I literally was like, all right, I gotta wait 6 more days from right now to find out.
You know who my Archnemesis is? Varici. I loved, even though it came out and it needed a lot of rebalancing. Is it Synthesis? No, it's not Synthesis. Syndicate. Is that what the league name was called? Anyway, we still have it in the game, which I like. But
was it Betrayal?
Betrayal. Yes.
Yeah.
I love killing Varici. He is my arch nemesis. He is my ultimate enemy. Hey, let's kill somebody, but don't
kill them.
Put them on low life for 8 seconds.
If you haven't played for a long time, just so you know, before 3.0, they made master changes. I think it came out with 3.0, but before that,
I forget.
The masters that you used to have were different. They're much more part of the Betrayal now, but you had to do quests for them in order to level them up, and you had to do every single league because that's where you got crafts from. But they had different style of quests, and some of them were extremely frustrating. Katarina sometimes could be like across the map. It didn't make sense. But Varici had one where he would say, go kill this target, but make them suffer on low life for 8 seconds, which is very hard with 90% of builds to try and get get an enemy down to less than 10% health.
It was hard
and then just
then,
not,
let alone now.
not do damage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy. So anyway, that trailer was so it's funny because like I get hyped. I like nerding out, but I don't pay attention to lore. I'm like a Dark Souls lore player. Like I like asking questions to myself as I go through, but I don't feel like stopping killing or leveling to answer those questions. So I'm fine with the mystery and maybe watching a YouTube video later on that rare occasion where I'd rather watch YouTube for half an hour than play PoE. I wonder when that happened, because I am doing that more often. Maybe that started happening when, like now, I remember us talking a long time ago. It's nice. PoE used to be a game where you could just sit down. Okay, cool. I have 15 minutes. I'll do a map or two. Now you can't because, and I don't mind it. It's not a complaint. But now when you sit down, there could be so much more happening. You might get
you try to do a map and it's got like 4 different directions you could go because of all the people in it.
Yeah, Inception. You have like maybe a metamorphal spawn in there. Maybe you'll have a Zana map in there. Maybe it'll end up being, I don't know. Maybe what are they called? The Conqueror might show up at the end, or you might unlock Al Hazim's fight at the end of that, and you're like, I hate stopping there. So anyway, but I like that. But maybe it's kind of like, okay, now I have half an hour. That's not enough time for a couple maps, so let's see. But anyway, yeah. So we gotta start giving credit to the whole teaser team, not just Camille, but Camille, we love your stuff.
Man, the music is so good. It just is. It gets me every time.
And the league reveal is the 27th. What day of the month is that for the 27th? Thursday for us, and then February 4th. Yeah, the Friday after that. So 8 days after that is when we can start playing on PC. And they came out with some more Conqueror theme art, which actually was quite good. I think they had a Corn reference in there too, which is really neat. But all that stuff just makes me think big changes are happening. It's not like I would know, but all this like fan art of Endgame, Conquerors, Shaper, Guardians, like it's
always
me think
something big when they change Endgame, though. It almost always is something pretty major when they're changing up the Endgame.
I guess, but if you go from like, how many times did they change the end game when they had Cyrus, or maybe Cyrus has only been around for 2 years, but then or maybe it's only been 1 year. I don't even know. You know how that memory stuff works in PoE. Can't remember if it was 2.0 or 3.0, but you get the live stream stuff that's happening on the 27th. Yeah, 27th. Yeah. You get some sweet wings.
Sweet wings in there.
Sorry. Okay, so Justin's going to cut out that awkward silence, but I was in the middle of a sentence and I stopped for like 20
that silence
seconds.
that in listening to counted for like half a second.
But yeah, so anyway, stared off. Well, yeah, but no, see, somebody's coming to dig a hole in the backyard to see what the drainage is going to be like for our thing, right? So, but I always think somebody's trying to rob us. So, every sound I hear, I'm like, who's coming in the front door? Where's my shotgun? I don't have a shotgun. But then, I'm expecting people to come through. And then there's somebody that was going to be coming by to check out the asbestos stuff. And anyway, and then my dryer started acting up. And we have to get the dryer people here before the asbestos removal people come and like the abatement team comes. But the dryer's making some crazy loud noises. And then when I have my headphones on at all, like I can't tell what's
abatement team?
The abatement is the term that I just learned. Makes me sound smart about like removing mold or asbestos from walls or floors and stuff like that. So it's basically like they're going to come down. My basement's going to be closed off for the week next week, and it's just going to be like hazmated. We're not allowed down there. Yep. So not going to be able to do laundry for like 4 or 5 days. You know how crazy that is? All right, kids, you're reusing your underwear. Anyway, no, where were we? Anyway, no, but the wings you get, you're getting wings. Like
really cool.
They're generous. Like I'm the kind of person where I'm on the opposite end of how GGG markets. I think to have things cheap and just have triple the sales as opposed to have things crazy expensive and only have diehards buy it. But with their pricing stuff, this is like a $35 giveaway. Like they're expensive wings. They are. But they remind me of, remember in Dark Souls 2, the earthen peak area where it's like all poison everywhere and misty. Then you have to go in and they had like those old rickety like cardboard or cloth windmills. You remember that?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, these wings reminded me of that right off the bat. They look like the same kind of stuff. So maybe it's all Dark Souls, and we just never knew. It's all the same
How
world.
does it work again? You have to watch for how long? Is it based on time for that one? I don't actually know how that works.
I have 2 hours in my head, but that's from the last like giveaways they were doing for these events.
I can't imagine they do 2 hours. No, is it even 2 hours?
It would probably be half an hour.
Yeah, because it's the live reveal and then the conversation with Ziggy, I think, is after.
Oh, did they say that? I missed that part. Did they say it was going to be Ziggy again? I hope so. He's good.
Yep,
he's good. I like Ziggy.
Yep. They're going to do that after. So what else we got? We have the, I don't know if you have a special order. The only thing I really cared about was the new stash tab for Guardian and Shaper and Conqueror maps, which is interesting because we haven't really figured out what's going to happen with Conquerors, but they actually have Conqueror maps now, which those icons for the Conqueror maps, we've actually not ever seen those. Like all of the other map icons have been actual drops. That's what the icon looked like for, a Guardian map or for whatever. Yep. But these Conqueror ones, that's new. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out, because that's actually not ever been an icon on a map we've had before.
Yeah. And so I'm curious as well if there's going to be a Cyrus map, maybe, because there, maybe not, or maybe it just means that Cyrus is guaranteed to be in it, like he sometimes shows up now, because now you have Shaper, Elder, that'll go in that tab. You'll have the 4 Guardians, and you'll have the 4 Conquerors. So that's 10. Like that's a lot of different stuff to filter through, and I think it's kind of neat. I don't know if Cyrus will be in there or not.
There's 12 in total.
What would be 12?
There's 12 in total. So they've got 4 Conquerors.
Yeah.
Then the 4 Elders, and then the 4. So it's the 4 Shaper Guardians. Yeah. There's the 4 Elder Guardians, and then the 4 Conquerors.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I forgot about the Shaper Guardians, Elder Guardians, and then the 4 Conquerors. So that's 12. But
yeah, so there's 12.
I would assume Shaper. Oh, wait.
Because Shaper, you get the shards or whatever, right, from each of the, when you do the bosses.
Oh, right. But so it's not counting influence. It's just counting the boss at the end.
It's just
so
the
it would
actual,
be Shaper Elder. Okay.
So I don't know. It's just interesting because, like I said, the Conquerors, this has never been a thing before. So it'll be interesting to see what that means for the Atlas now, where there will be actually Conqueror influenced maps that drop. But does that mean you're not actually doing Conqueror influenced maps in general? I don't know. It's interesting. I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, because obviously something different or added or the same, but with the new bosses has to be added. Like there needs to be a value to what's currently being implemented as well. So now you have this old stuff that's going to have value, and now this new stuff, whether it's going to be influence or the different types of bosses or fragment system that they have. Interesting.
Well, yeah, because with these, if it works the same with the Conquerors the way that the Guardians work, it means that my guess is once you do the 4 and you collect the shards, that's what will get you to Cyrus now. If you want to fight Cyrus, is you'll need one of the shards for each of the 4.
I love content you can ignore. I love it.
But then that also means that the Atlas will be very different because you won't have this Conqueror influence thing anymore, which I'm just really curious, because what does that mean for Watchstones? Like the whole end game switches up if you all of a sudden the Conquerors are now a drop type of map, which is what Shaper and Elder ones are. So versus whatever that Atlas will be with this new system. So it's fun. It's exciting. I like when they post stuff like this and they don't really give any info. They're just like, here's the new stash tab.
That's right. Yeah. And
be
if there's going to be like the new set of 4, which it looks like it is from the support packs, are they just automatically going to be added to that same sub tab in the map tab? I think that's kind of neat. I love that they're improving the map tab. I wish there was more ways to filter the map tab as there currently is. As a console player, it's a lot more difficult to go through the same process as a PC player. Like, you can type. Right. Yeah. But I mean, life is different when you have to use an analog stick on a digital keyboard to scroll through to your numbers, you know what I mean, and your letters. And there's not really a good legend. People that maybe play PC stuff know the typical way to search for certain things, like the fancy colons or quotations and stuff and what that does. But I don't know that. And maybe the console community doesn't know that. And so there's not really a good legend that GG provides on how to be an efficient searcher with how they have their setup. So the more that's physically laid out or visually laid out, I really appreciate. So I'm quite excited about this. Mm-hmm. And I'm curious how like the actual siege of the Atlas is going to work.
Yeah, for sure.
You know,
Me
like
too.
the visual implementation, like they put so much effort and detail into how they go. To me, you can't have a siege without knowing what happens after the siege or having a vague idea. So it makes me think that they already know what the next years is going to be like. And I mean, even if it is going to be PoE2's version of the end game, like you have the siege of the Atlas. Okay, now what happens after the siege? So pretty neat. They also talked about, and I think they did this a couple like last week, but we didn't talk about it. New div card for a level 84 rare cluster jewel. Love it. I think that's an awesome one. I hope it's really
That is
common.
really good.
I hope it's really common. Unique synthesis
There's
map.
no way that's common.
I hope
For
it
item
is.
level 84, I don't think so.
I hope it is.
And only needing 3 of them too.
I'm going to be a keyboard warrior if it's not. I'm just joking.
I'm sure you will.
There's a unique synthesis map, which I think is great. They're not letting go of synthesis, and I love that they don't. Keep it in, keep it going.
The synthesis maps are fun.
Yeah, totally.
Yep.
Remember when the like outside blue stuff was like caving in like crazy?
Awful.
And
yeah.
And
in the beginning, it was like sometimes
it was so fast.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was so fast.
yeah,
Just
you would
out,
die if
right
it
out.
touched you. And then eventually, they just made it stop. I think that was only when it went core. I don't think it was League.
Correct.
I think League had always crawled in towards you. But yeah, that wasn't a good slow person League.
No, it wasn't.
No, I did not
It was
excel
not at all.
No. Hey, Just, I'll see you next league. But anyway, unique synthesis map, which is neat. The unique cobalt jewel was released, and I love the responses to it. I like when something unique shows up, I'm like, oh, neat. People are going to have a lot of fun with that. Won't be me, but people will.
Okay, so I'm just going to interrupt you because I love seeing some of the uniques. I don't like them to show all of them, but I like the little teased ones. The best part about having the Discord community that we're in is when I read this jewel, it was just on my phone. I was just out and about and I saw a tweet or something. So I popped it up and I read it and it was in the middle of the day. So I didn't have a whole lot of time to think about it, but I was like, the hell would want this? That was my very first thought was like minus 76 to all elemental resistances. Then I'm reading through Discord and people are like, oh, you could do it with this and do that with different thing with it. No, it'll work great for this. I was like, oh, okay.
Have fun.
At least somebody's, giving me an idea of what I could use it for. Because when I first read it, I was like, this sounds like a con.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, this one was the thing that really got me excited about this wasn't the jewel as well, though I'm sure a lot of people are going to use it, but it was Mark_GGG. Like the guy that knows everything at the company, because he had like 100 responses to people about this.
Oh, good. Nice.
About things that would work, things that wouldn't work. Actually, that would be impossible because this is how the game works in this. I love that he does that. I just absolutely love it. Like if we ever have him on the show, I'm going to ask him how he doesn't seem to ever burn out.
Yeah.
It's like he's crazy. Always on. Like I remember some of his responses being like, hey, I was just lying in bed, but I just thought of this. So, and then he responds to somebody and I'm like, the guy's amazing. Yeah. So Mark_GGG. If you never hear this, okay, but I hope you hear this. We love you. We think you're amazing. Thanks for putting in all that effort.
Cool dude.
Totes cool. Totes cool. And so
I'm assuming we'll probably see a couple more teasers this week before the 27th because we've still got a week away.
Yes.
So there'll be more coming.
Yeah.
I saw Bex tweeting like random things about. It's really funny too now because it doesn't matter what she puts out there. It gets read into in a million different directions. When you get towards the beginning of a league, she could just put out the word M, and people are like, "What? There's 2 corners. There's 3 triangles in there." Like somebody will find some way to try and figure out something from it.
Upside down W. What does that mean?
What'd she really mean?
wraeclast is getting turned upside down.
Meanwhile, she just accidentally hit a button and tweeted it. But
I saw one of her tweets. It was a whole bunch of letters, and then she's like, "I've always feared pocket tweeting, like accidentally, like you're tweeting something, but your phone was in your pocket the whole time. And it's an accidental tweet." And she's like, "This is like the best, like I guess this is the best it could have been for my worst nightmare when it was just a whole bunch of letters as opposed to like a picture or a sound or something." But yeah. She had a Reddit response this week that got me very excited. And a lot of the times, like people ask generic questions and they don't get answered. And that's not a criticism. You can't answer everybody. There's thousands of people that are always asking questions. But every now and then one squeaks through or it's the perfect timing for it, which is normally the case, I would assume. And so this person's talking about any news on gamepad/controller support for PC. And the person's just like, yeah, I remember Chris talking about it. Any news on it? That'd be like me asking, hey, any news on PoE mobile? controller. And of course, that would probably get ignored. It'll be announced when it gets announced. Bex actually responds to this controller support one, and it says, we've made a lot of progress implementing this, and it was fairly close to making it for 317.
What? Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. However, it's not going to be ready in time. But to summarize,
sure, it's
definitely coming. I just don't have a date yet, but it's not far away.
That is really cool.
Yeah, like that. I absolutely love that. I cannot wait for that, because the thing that keeps me from using like the Steam controller you were willing to lend me forever is the UI still works like a mouse. But once you add controller support, like it does on the console, you move the analog stick over and your cursor snaps to the next itemization square, or whatever you would call it. And that's so great. Like, it's just, oh my goodness. Like, I can't wait. Justin, I am going to be so good with the controller on PC. Just you wait.
I love keyboard and mouse, but I still appreciate when a game puts the ability to add controller support into it, because there are just some games. I don't think Path of Exile is one of them, but there are some games that work way better with controller. But there are some people who play on the PC that would prefer controller. So I love the idea of having it there as an option.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
Yeah. Now, one thing that I don't know if it's been 2 leagues now or 1 league, but remember when they changed Act 1 and their difficulty to be, they want to make it all on par. They basically want to, if I remember correctly, I hope I'm not twisting their words, but they wanted to make the act difficulties on par with the league difficulties. So,
it was only up to Act 7, though, I think, that they were talking about wanting to do that. It wasn't all 10 acts.
No, I think only, but it was the majority of them that needed to be tweaked. Yeah. Because, you would be doing Act 1 or 2 and it'd be easy. And then you'd enter league content. You'd be like, whoa. And they would just crush you because the difference of it. So they were trying to up it. And they changed all Act 1, which is what makes the ROAS so terrifying and hardcore for me now. But then the league right after that, I guess they had so much on their plate based on feedback. So, they were doing what, the community was asking. They didn't do the Act 2 difficulty changes.
They said it wasn't ready.
Sure. So, and better to not implement it instead of implementing it not ready. So awesome. So maybe this is the league they do Act 2 and Act 3. Ooh, maybe Act 4.
I'm fine if they don't do any of them. I really am.
Yeah.
I guess we'll see if they do them. To be honest, it'd be a little bit surprising if they did, only because if they had to have a delay for the launch of the league, I highly doubt that this would have been prioritized with everything else going on. With regards to a new Atlas plus the league itself, it would be surprising to me if we saw a change to the Act 2 and 3 difficulty, because that means that they would have had to put a reasonable amount of resources into it. I mean, depending on how much was done last league that just wasn't ready to go, I would be a little bit surprised if that was actually something they were able to also fit in and tune to make sure that it's not insane. So I'm not in any rush for them to finish those acts and make them harder. I just want to get through them. So
yeah,
I do enjoy the randomness in the beginning of like, oh geez, if 4 of these rows hit me, I'm in trouble. Because that's what reminds me of playing in the very, very beginning.
Back in the day.
But I'm fine if they don't.
Yeah. So you're saying this isn't a good time to improve guilds either. They probably don't have the time.
What would you improve?
I don't know.
You've got a hideout. You've got control click is like the greatest thing ever to come to guilds.
Oh, agreed.
Yeah. What would you improve?
Stuff? Just minor things. I think having a list of permissions available for the hierarchy of a guild, they
definitely need to improve permissions for sure.
I think that would be nice, because it seems like only the guild leader can be in charge of a whole bunch of stuff, of modifying and editing.
Besides inviting, I think when we were talking with BK, officers can't even remove.
Yeah. So
all you can do is add someone.
Adding maybe a couple tiers of permissions, maybe, whether it's not a manual permission based per user, but giving the option of, hey, this hierarchy can do this and this and this and this.
Yeah, I agree.
Or
totally
being able to customize it. What else? Yeah, I think that's it. Like adding the ability in tabs. For example, you can't upgrade within guild tabs. So like the Essence tab, for example, people were donating their tabs. I think it was Georgia.
That is really odd.
And we actually, I think it was Georgia. My apologies if I'm getting it wrong, but thank you, Georgia.
It was Georgia that
Yet they had to remove them into their own and then upgrade them all and then put them back. And sometimes maybe you're only giving some, you're not giving everything. So to put all those back into your own stash and to upgrade them might kind of screw up the ratio with which you were donating. Now, in this case, I think people were just donating everything because it was the end of the league for them. So they're just being nice, but that's not always the case.
It is weird that there's no upgrade button like what is in the normal. Maybe that's coming. I feel like maybe there's a server reason for that.
Probably the same as the control click thing.
Yeah, maybe somebody can like steal something or, I don't know, dupe something. Not really sure.
Well, maybe that comes in line maybe with their permission restrictions then, because obviously you don't want just anybody upgrading it because maybe you want some low tier stuff, right? If you're sharing that to help with leveling. So, but it would be nice to be able to do that with some permissions. But anyway, I was just, anything else you change? I can't, I'm so I love guild hideouts. I think it's so cool. Oh, one thing I would love, since, I'll answer for you. Hi, my name's Justin, and I would absolutely love to have my quick button to go to hideouts go to my guild hideout instead.
Well, or what they could do is add, I don't know if there's the ability to do it. To be honest, there might be. I don't actually know. Because you can type /hideout and go straight to your hideout. Maybe there's a /guild hideout. Because it would be nice to have. I tend to just play with, I can't even remember what the name of the thing is for checking prices. But it has the ability to just hit F5 and that takes you straight to your hideout.
Huh.
So it would be cool to have one that was guild hideout. Do you use guild hideout more than your own hideout?
I'll only use the guild hideout now because it's fun to see somebody else coming around. There's no difference to me. Like it acts as your own hideout. And so I have had a couple glitches when it comes to portals. Like I'll go to one of them. It's supposed to be the same instance per se, whether it's your own or not.
Yeah.
And I've had some times where it actually didn't show and I'd had to travel back and forth and then it did show. So minor thing. Yeah. But I love that it works. I love that you can have like that little community, but still have the like, no, you can't use my portals, bye. But you could still hang out there. And I just think it's amazing. It's honestly, for me, it's one of the coolest additions they've made. Irrelevant to when people think they should have added it. I think it's so great.
Yeah, it's nice that it's there now.
The community stuff is just super. So, but is there anything else you'd add?
To guilds, probably, but I can't think of anything. I think the fact that they've gotten, at least to as far as they've gotten, is pretty decent. It's a lot better than what it was before. The only thing that I think would be a lot of fun is if you added, and no reward, but just added each league or something. I guess it could travel to standard too, but some sort of like group achievement or something where you could, as a guild, see. I don't need anything out of it. I'm not saying to give any MTX or any like even guild increases or upgrades, but you could just see like how many. I don't know what it would be,
guild
but like
stats.
levels and stats and XP earned and how many red maps have been run or something that you had this like goal to reach or something each league. I think that'd be fun.
Or Cyrus kills and it says, how many people have killed who, how many times or whatever. It'd
be fun to have some sort of little ladder thing or just like a group achievement thing. I think that'd be kind of cool.
Oh, 100% agree. That's a really good idea.
In game though. I don't want to have to go to the website.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Not on the website.
Actually, if you update the wiki, I agree. Good for you. Good idea.
I think that'd be fun. All right, sweet. I think we're going to wrap this up. We've got one more week, and next week's actually going to be crazy because we've got BK, plus we'll have the announcement will have been out for a day. So it'll come out the day before we record.
Oh my goodness. That is going to be like an 8-hour episode. It's going to be awesome.
It's going to be a fun episode. So next week is going to be a blast.
I just made content. Justin cry inside because an 8-hour episode to edit. That's a dream come true.
I just won't. I'll adjust the audio and then be like, deal with the rest of it.
That's right.
Anyway, thank you guys so much for joining us for episode 120 Forever Exiled, the Path of Exile podcast. I'm Justin, aka Tags.
Tyler, Wrecker of Days.
We will see patrons in After Dark, and everybody else will see you next week with BK and 121. If you're looking for more information, you can find it down below. We got a website, foreverexiled.com. We're on Twitter, foreverexiled82. We have a Discord, which is super awesome, sweetest place in the world. Join it, or not, whatever. And Patreon, if you want to support us, it's down below. Info's down there. And that's it.
That is. For episode
everybody.
110.
Yep.
That's what you're going to say.
Was that what I was trying to say, maybe?
Sounded like that's what you're going to say.
No, my brain's just slowly shutting off.
Oh, better.
Which isn't great because it's noon.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
Stuff to do.
I have a house to decorate for my son when he gets home. So, bye.
Sweet. Thank you guys for joining us.